Hey, this is David Ellefson from Megadeth, and you're watching Artisan News. For me, it was actually pulling up the freeway out there, where all of a sudden you over the horizon you see the big monolith, which is Yankee Stadium, and it's like at that moment it was kind of like, wow, we're really here. This is real. It's happening outside. They've got the big sign, tickets on sale for the Big Four. And then just as you know, it's one of those things when you pull up to stadiums like this, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you realize just how small you are in the scheme of it all. You know, we first heard about it right after we played the Big Four show in Indio, California, which is going to be the only United States Big Four show at that time. And I mean, literally right as that was happening, the talk of this got released, put out to the other three bands. I think it took us all of about probably 2 seconds to say yes, and we committed to it. We jumped on board, and within a couple of days, the press announcement went out about it. And I mean, it's just phenomenal. It's so cool to be able to do an East and a West Coast Big Four show, number one, and then to be playing this venue is just, you know, it's history in the making here. You know, the creative process for the new album 13 was it was cool because we only had 2 months to do it. I mean, literally right after the Indio Big Four show at the end of April, we went right in the studio with producer Johnny K, and we already had a full summer of touring booked. So we knew when our deadline was to get it all done. And that really creates an urgency with rock and roll bands, you know. And I think Megadeth, we're one of these bands that we've always done our best when our back's against the wall. When you get the luxury of taking time off, and somehow or another time and everything, the workload expands to fit the time. And so when you close the gap up, guess what? Now you don't have much time, and it's like, man, everybody really boned up and got to work, and I think we made a totally slamming album. Well, record sales are definitely different today. And, you know, there's always this thing about how much is given away, stolen, sold, you know, all that kind of stuff. I have to think, at the end of the day, there's more people on the planet now than there ever has been, so somebody's getting the record somehow. So I think when you make it, obviously, we'd like to get paid for them so we can pay back the money it cost us to make it, and hopefully, you know, pay our bills for a couple of months so we can afford to go on tour and go do this, you know. But so, you know, that side of the business has changed. But somebody somewhere has the albums because the stadium's full. So the people are still getting the music, and that for us as an artist requires, you know, just because, you know, the sales can't determine the quality and your work ethic of what you put into it. Your quality and your work ethic has to be great all the time. You know, there's an old saying in the music business, you're only as good as your last gig. And that definitely applies anytime you make an album. You want your latest album to be your best album. Setlist for Big Four is, what we're doing is we're looking through to see what songs we played on other Big Four shows, because these things end up all over the internet like instantaneously. Plus, we also just did a big summer tour here, the Mayhem Tour, so we did a couple of shows close by in New Jersey, so we want to make sure we change it up from that for any fans who may have just seen us recently. And, of course, with the new album, you know, we have one song, Public Enemy No. 1, which is now officially a single. It's available on iTunes now. So that, for sure, we want to pop that out there. And but other than that, you know, part of it, too, is it's like when you play these big rooms like this, big hall, it's, you know, music sounds different in it. So we try to be very selective about music that sounds good, music that a lot of the fans know. You know, there's always one or two fans that want to hear track 6 on side B of album 1, you know what I mean? And they get to be a little obscure. So we try to use good judgment in playing songs that everybody can enjoy. We don't really do any pre-show powwow with the other bands, per se. We have our own little working mantra that we do where we rehearse, we warm up. We obviously do all of our vocal warm-ups. We do everything. So we try to do all of that and get all that going. But as far as, you know, like when I showed up here today, I went out right up onto the stage and Anthrax was sound checking, and they're actually playing a brand new song, which was cool. So it was really cool to see those guys. I mean, this is their backyard, so we're thrilled for them. Apparently, this is like National Anthrax Day of the Bronx today, rightfully so. And so it's, you know, it's kind of what's nice about the Big Four now at this point is we've been doing so many of them, and we all know each other. So there's a lot of hugs and high fives, and when we show up, we know everybody now. So there's that familiarity, which is really cool. So everybody can kind of come in, find their dressing room, settle in, and just kind of it's pretty casual, and it's a good hang, which is nice. It takes a lot of the other stresses of the environment. When you're traveling all the time and playing different venues every day, there's always an adjustment to a new venue, a new city, a new staff, new personnel. A lot of that is taken out of the equation now when we do Big Four.